Between 1983 and 2002, at least 65 women allegedly vanished from Robert Pickton's pig farm in Port Coquitlam, Vancouver's downtown Eastside. Arrested in 2002, Robert Pickton was charged with murdering 26 of the women. In 2007, he was convicted on 6 charges and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Before we dive deeper into the atrocities of the Canadian serial killer and former pig farmer, please kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating true crime videos. Robert William Pickton was born on October 24, 1949, in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada, to Leonardo and Louise. He was a prolific Canadian serial killer and former pig farmer. While growing up, his father sent his older sister Linda to live with relatives in Vancouver, as their parents thought it would be inappropriate to raise a young woman on a pig farm. During his childhood, Robert and his younger brother David worked with their father on the farm. Louise, his mother, was reported to be highly demanding, placing the well-being of the pigs over the brothers and forcing them to work late hours raising the farm's livestock. She would even chase them to school in unwashed, dirty school uniforms, reeking of manure and pig waste, which earned Pickton and David the name Stinky Piggy from their classmates. Pickton was the closest to his mother, but had true disdain towards his abusive father. During Pickton's early teens, he starved for weeks to save money and buy one of his most cherished pets, a calf. One day, he returned from school and checked on the cow as he usually did, but to his greatest surprise, the calf had disappeared. Pickton rushed to his mother. She told him to check the barn, where he was heartbroken to find his pet slaughtered. Anger thrummed through his veins, but he swallowed his frustration and moved on. Pickton dropped out of school in 1963 and worked as a butcher's apprentice. After 7 years working as an apprentice, Pickton had mastered meat cutting techniques and knowledge of food hygiene and safety requirements. As a result, he left his apprenticeship in 1970 to work full-time at the family farm. Pickton's father died in 1978, and his mother died the following year, leaving the property to the 3 children, Pickton, David, and Linda. Shortly after, the brothers got tired of the site's farming operation, so in 1994, Pickton and David sold part of the property for $5.16 million. They used part of the money to register a non-profit charity named Piggy Palace Good Times Society with the Canadian government in 1996. Pickton claimed that the organization aimed to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of service organizations, sports organizations, and other worthy groups. In reality, the Piggy Palace Good Times Society was a place for wild parties and a slaughterhouse, which attracted as many as 2,000 people, including Vancouver sex workers and members of the Hells Angels. There had been reports of missing persons in the Vancouver downtown Eastside neighborhood. Still, the authorities were less bothered as that particular environment is known for its high poverty rates, homelessness, prostitution, and open drug abuse. But as the families of the missing women and advocates for sex trade workers kept demanding a thorough investigation into murders and disappearances of sex workers in that environment, the sluggish Vancouver police decided to act. In 1987, the RCMP set up a team to investigate the disappearances and murders. 2 years later, it was disbanded. Then, on March 22, 1997, Pickton took Wendy Lynn Eistetter to his farm and tried to handcuff her. She fought back, and in the ensuing struggle, both received serious wounds. Wendy struggled to wave down a car to Royal Columbian Hospital in New Westminster. While she was undergoing treatment at the hospital, Pickton arrived to receive treatment for his deep cut in the same hospital. Wendy had informed the police that Pickton had handcuffed her, but that she had escaped after suffering several lacerations. Pickton was searched, and a key was found in his pocket that fit the handcuffs on the woman's wrist. He was arrested and charged with attempted murder, assault with a weapon, and forcible confinement. Pickton, who was later released on the ground that the police did not consider Wendy a competent witness due to her drug addiction, claimed she was a hitchhiker who had attacked him. On December 31st, 1998, the Canadian Authority sued Pickton and his brother for violating zoning laws. They were neglecting the agriculture for which it had been zoned, and having altered a large farm building on the land to hold dances, concerts, and other recreations. The brothers ignored the legal warnings and organized a 1998 New Year's Eve party, after which the police were authorized to arrest and remove any person attending future events at the farm. The nonprofit charity Piggy Palace Good Times Society was removed the following year for its inability to produce financial statements. It was subsequently disbanded. In 1999, an informant reported to the Vancouver police that Lynn Ellingson, a single mother and drug addict, had seen a lifeless woman hanged in Pickton's slaughterhouse. The police invited the woman for questioning, but Ellingson initially denied the story. Only much later did she admit to having seen the dead body on March 20th, but didn't want to report it because Pickton catered to her drug expenses and would harm her if she ever snitched. After a few months, a member of Pickton's staff in the pig farm, named Bill Hiscox, reported to the RCMP that Lisa Yelds, a close friend to Pickton, had numerous times seen women's purses, clothes, and identification papers at the farm, which could be the property of missing women. Police invited Yelds for questioning, but nothing came of it. In 2001, due to the high volume of reports and public outcry from families of missing women, along with advocates for sex trade workers, the Vancouver Police and RCMP formed Project Even-Handed to investigate the missing woman from the downtown Eastside. In 2002, Scott Chubb, a former truck driver on the pig farm, reported to the RCMP in Port Coquitlam that he had seen a gun in Pickton's trailer home. On February 5th, officers of the Joint Task Force raided the pig farm and found several illegal tools, including unregistered guns and items connecting missing women to the property. Pickton was arrested for illegally possessing firearms and later released on bail, but he remained on police watch. The police restrained him from returning to the pig farm while they conducted a deeper search under a second warrant. Among the evidence discovered were women's clothing, handcuffs, shoes, and an asthma inhaler prescribed to one of the missing women, Serena Abotsway. A DNA test conducted in a motorhome on the pig farm proved that of Mona Wilson. On February 22, 2002, Robert Pickton was rearrested, charged with 2 counts of murder, and held in a jail in Surrey with an undercover RCMP officer, which Pickton thought to be another detainee. While in the British Columbian jail cell, Pickton began a conversation with the undercover RCMP officer, revealing how he had murdered 49 women and had wanted to make it an even 50. Since the investigators had heard from the horse's mouth, they moved on to Pickton's preliminary hearing. After a lengthy investigation, the authorities learned that Pickton's killing spree began in 1991 and kicked up a notch in 1996 when he and his brother David started Piggy Palace Good Times Society because he could use the overcrowded party to lure his victims to the farm faster. Once the women were at his farm, he would lure them into his trailer home, where they would be handcuffed, injected, and strangled to death. Pickton would then move the body to the slaughterhouse, where he would butcher them and feed large portions of the victims' remains to his pigs. The parts that he didn't feed to his pigs would be taken to the rendering plants in downtown Eastside, Vancouver, to be crushed along with animal waste and turned into gelatin. This gelatin is used in many everyday products. On December 9, 2007, Pickton was found guilty by a jury on 6 counts of second-degree murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. The Canadian government labeled the pig farm murder the largest crime scene in Canadian history. During the early days of excavations, archaeological and forensic experts brought heavy equipment, including 2-foot flat conveyor belts, to sift 383,000 cubic yards of soil to find traces of human remains. Investigators took 200,000 DNA samples and seized 600,000 exhibits. The Canadian government estimated that the investigation cost nearly $70 million. Do you feel that Robert Pickton was too smart for the police to catch? Or do you think the police just weren't interested in finding the missing woman? Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.